Hello and welcome. I'm Mariana Trapnell, President and Chief Excel Geek here at Accelerations, and also creator of the 5 Steps to Fast Reports method. One of the formulas that's a critical formula in the 5 Steps to Fast Reports method is Vlookup. It's also one of the most talked about formulas in Excel. Everyone wants to use it, but it's also one of the ones that can give you a little bit of difficulty if you don't quite know how the formula is set up. So I wanted to run through it with you today and make sure you're aware of some of the tips and tricks, particularly the tricks that it can cause. Anyway, let's dive right in. Alright, we have a spreadsheet here, and it's got the orders on it, and it's also got the employees who made the sale for these particular orders. And what I want to do is I want to pull in the position so that I can tell what level of salesperson is actually bringing in these sales. So the Vlookup is a great little tool for combining 2 sets of data into one set. So I can actually bring the position into this sheet from another sheet, whether it's in this particular file or it's in another file. I can actually go and grab the worker name and return their job title so that I can tell if it's level 1 sales reps making the sales, or maybe the vice president's getting right in there and doing some sales as well. So what we want to do is go back to the first cell where we want our Vlookup to do some work for us, and you can see here we've got the employee name, and just right beside it I'm going to put in my formula. So the place to go for that is formulas, and then insert function. And then what I can do is just type in Vlookup up here, hit go, and it's the first one that comes up in the list, obviously. So I hit OK. And then I go into my lookup value. So this is where it can get a bit tricky, is when we're trying to decide what to put in each of these different fields of the Vlookup formula. So what it is on this first one is I want to look up this employee name, and it's on the same line that I'm putting my Vlookup in. So I just click that, and you can see it's filled in the cell there. Then the next thing I want to do is say where I want it to look up this employee name. So as I know already, my sales team list is on another tab, so I'm just going to flip over to that. I've clicked in the box, and I'm just going to flip over to my sales team tab, and now we can see my list of salespeople here. So one of the major tricks to Vlookup that really trips people up is the table array that you're referring to. The leftmost column has to be the value you're looking up. So when we're looking up our employee name that we just selected in B2 there, we're actually going to look up that in column C. So it's not column A, it's column C. But that's going to be our leftmost column. So I'm selecting that first because that's where I expect it to find that name. And then what I want it to return is the job title. So I need to make sure that my array includes that job title. So you can see now my reference here is sales team C to F. So far so good. Next, we're going to go enter the column index number. And this is another trick. It's a number. It isn't a letter, it isn't a cell reference, it's a number. So in my reference, C to F on the sales team tab, you can see I selected C to F. And column F is the column I wanted to actually return. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 columns over. So I'm actually just going to get rid of this and enter A4. And that's all I need to enter there. Now the last trick into this formula is this range lookup. And you can see it's a logical reference, so it's looking for either true or false. And I always put false here, always, because what it'll do is if I put true, it might return the value I'm looking for, or it might actually return the next closest one, and that's not really what I want. I want Anne, or I don't want anyone. I don't want it to, provide me Jan instead. So it's always a false in here. So that's really important. Anyway, so we've got our 4 values now. I hit OK. And there, lo and behold, Anne is a sales rep level 1. I'm just going to go check that and make sure that looks reasonable. And sales rep level 1, okay? So like I say, it's going to look in the first column and return whatever's in column 4 of that array we selected. And that is sales rep level 1 on the same row as Anne. So that's how that VLOOKUP works. Now, we can actually just copy this down. And let's see. Okay, so we've got sales rep level 2, so we've got a sales coordinator. And I'm just going to keep copying this down further. Oh, vice president's getting involved there as well. So we can see that it's actually returning the data that we're expecting. Now, one more thing I just wanted to mention. Jan Cotis here is a sales rep level 2. Now, if I go over here and check, let's see, Jan, sales rep level 2. But for some weird and wacky reason, Jan is also in this table as a sales rep level 3. And you can see it's returned level 2 because that's actually the first instance that Jan appears with in this table. And VLOOKUP is always going to return your first instance. So you've got to have a unique lookup that you're doing here. Otherwise it's not going to work. If you're expecting to see level 2 and level 3, it's not going to happen. So just something else to be aware of there. And I'm just going to show you one more quick trick. I'm just going to jump up to the top of my list here. And say I want to copy this down very quickly. If I've got data all the way down this column, I can just grab this little handle here on the bottom right corner of the cell and double click on it. And that's going to run my data all the way down to the bottom. And again, as with the control and shift tricks I showed you previously, if there was a blank in here, it may or may not copy down all the way. So just something to watch for there. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. Let's see. Yep, that one it did because it's also got data on the right. Anyway, that was another little bonus tip and trick for you there. Alright, so just wanted to mention that we've got a couple of action items for you on this one. So first and foremost, do make sure that you try using VLOOKUP with your own data ASAP. It's one that you definitely need to play with a bit to get used to it, and you really want to make sure that you're trying it out before you forget what you were doing with it. And then second, I would ask that you leave a comment on the page below to tell me was this video useful for you? If you've used VLOOKUP before, how have you used it? And or are there other Excel topics you'd like me to cover in the future? I really want to make sure that this is a valuable exercise for you and I'm not just creating videos that no one ever really uses. So please do comment and let me know that this is actually helpful for you. And with that, I think we'll stop here and I will be back another time to provide some more tips and tricks. Like I say though, do please stop by and leave a comment on the blog. And if you haven't already done so, please sign up at accelerations.com, which is accelerations.com. And also, I forgot, I just wanted to mention, there is a link at the bottom of this post in the blog as well that takes you to a older post that I did on what's up with VLOOKUP for those of you who want to read a bit more about it and work through it that way instead. Anyway, that is it for today, and thanks for stopping by.